The Morning Brew podcast with Jaffe and Razor, sponsored by Berkshire Bank Home Lending. Where you borrow matters. I remember from the days in the I and the A when working with the Chicago Wolves organization, there was a fun saying there: "You can never have enough games, and you can never have enough games on the road." That was usually when a good road trip came up, and the guys were able to have some fun. The Chicago Wolves were a fun organization at that time too. Holy smokes, were they fun! As we welcome you into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor, the morning after the Boston Bruins win 3-2 in overtime over the Seattle Kraken. Razor, my time with the Wolves, it's when I fell into broadcasting, basically right after my time with the Blackhawks, was glorious, and road trips were fun. I mean, they were fun, but everybody was young, and when it was just fun, and guys were just, I mean, you won more than you lost. Everybody was all for one for all, buddy. It was the classic high end, veteran laden minor league team. Now, I'm not saying that the Bruins are going out with a crazy type of road trip, but they start the road trip out well. It's a good road trip for an Eastern team, and you brought it up last night in the telecast. They haven't done it for 2 years or whatever it exactly is. They missed it last year. So, as a former NHLer, and I know, and by the way, huge difference between an NHL road trip and a minor league trip. By the way, as well as the Chicago Wolves traveled, Razor, and I'm telling you, we traveled well, for a minor league team, but I was part of it as a broadcaster there. It's different, but it's also a different attitude. But how much would you be looking forward to a trip like this, coming from East going West? 6-game road trip, all West except for the finish in Columbus.
Yeah, it's a good one. The LA one's always circled. The California one's always circled. Florida's nice. Even Western Canada's nice. You get to go to Van and see people, but the California one's always circled. You always look for the night off, the 2 nights off, and it's just a lot of fun because you got a whole week away, and you can really plan it out, and it's so much better when you win. You cannot explain how much more fun road trips are when you find ways to win on them. It feels 100 times better, and it's just as simple as last night being able to have a beer on the plane or a glass of wine on the plane when you get on, because you're not driving, no one's driving, so the team will open that up and allow that to happen. It's just as simple as that, and then you get in and you can find somewhere to go for a little bit. And I'm sure 1 night or 2 nights in LA, they'll have all the restaurants planned. To your point of the NHL and the minor league road trip, that the one difference is where you're going. The outcome's typically the same, but where you go and what you can get into is a little different. So LA and Vegas are good spots to be NHLers.
Yeah, in the old I and then the A when it transferred to that. I mean, we would have Long Beach to go to, which was still nice. And the Wolves, again, traveled beautifully. What an owner, Don Levin. Jeez, holy smokes. What an owner.
Wendell Young.
Wendell Young. Oh, my God. The swindler.
Just an road trip.
Oh, my God. The best organizer on the road. What a tremendous human being. And then he had a lot of veteran players. But we'd also have Salt Lake. Interesting city, Salt Lake. Kind of would get an under the radar. Well, it's not much fun, but if you went to certain places, it was pretty fun. Let me tell you, it was pretty fun. Anyways, but you're right, different, and you stay in different hotels and you get there a little quicker, and it's commercial versus charter or vice versa, which is always nice. But this is actually not unfortunately for the Bruins, this isn't one of those trips that sets up though for many nights off. I mean, because of the schedule, but you still have, they'll have tonight, Friday night in San Jose. I didn't even look at the weather. but they'll be able to go out for a nice dinner somewhere and enjoy it. Hopefully they're, whether it's at the pool or just taking a
Yeah.
walk in San Jose, they can enjoy that. But then
Well,
they've
and
got,
guys run up to San Francisco on this one. We always
you
if we
think,
had a day,
yeah,
I don't
you
know if
do that,
guys
huh?
will, but we did. We would at times, if you had if you had an earlier practice today, you could get in a car and get up there in 40 minutes, 45 minutes and
Yeah, yeah,
switch it
we did
up.
that a little bit too, and just you go enjoy dinner up there, and then you come back. You're
Yeah.
back by 10:30 or whatever, 11. But then, so they've got a game Saturday in San Jose. Then it's it's an hour, not even flight down to California. So then you've got Sunday off. They'll enjoy Sunday off at the pool in Cali. My assumption is that they will stay at the same hotel for a couple of days,
Mhm.
and they'll shuttle around from there. The question is, well, they won't. After Tuesday's game, they'll get right to Vegas. So they'll have Wednesday in Vegas off. They'll do that. So it's
Yeah.
just
And
enough time.
they're staying the night in Vegas as well after the game.
Okay, so then they're going to have Wednesday night and Thursday night in Vegas. So then Friday will be a full travel off day to recover from
Mhm.
anything that might ail them. Put it that way. All right, so
Precisely.
that'll be
So look
good.
out for
So
Columbus.
yeah, Columbus might be a different story. We'll talk about a different Morning Brew perhaps on that day. Let's touch on this game against Seattle. It's the second time this year the Bruins win by the identical score, 3-2. The first game was in regulation win. This game in overtime. Pastrnak had 2 goals the previous game. In this game, Jake DeBrusk had 2 goals. One of them that was sweet, the overtime winner. The other one that was, I mean, literally that's the closest goal you'll ever score. Puck was already halfway across the goal line when he slammed it in, basically. A lot of talk about Jake DeBrusk, and rightfully so. He's showing himself better lately. Is it his attitude? Is it the team playing better? What do we think it is for Jake? Is he really any different, Bud, than we saw a couple of weeks ago? And by the way, you can't look at him and say he's been bad since the declaration came out. He's been Jake, though, at times, riding high and sometimes very quiet, if not invisible low. I feel like the trend better. Forget just the 3 goals in 3 games, but it's been more noticeable a little bit, which is nice. I mean, he's been a noticeable player. And part of it was that I think he had to get his reminded ass, not handed to him. That's not fair at all. Tapped. Hey, buddy, let's get going. Get a little kick in the ass when he was sent to the fourth line. But he didn't shrug his shoulders or drop his head. He kept playing well.
He did. He kept his feet moving and he kept driving the net. We would talk about those things, whether it was here or the telecast, and he was getting there, and now he gets a huge break, and now you also have to wonder, especially playing with these two guys. Listen, you're going to get Patrice is going to give you attention, Brad's going to give you attention, and they demand a lot. And Cassidy touched on it after the game, what they demand of the players that they play with, let alone what's in their room. They demand
Mm-hmm.
all these guys, all these superstars demand one thing in the dressing room, and it's a whole nother if you're actually playing on their line. That gets exponentially
Mm-hmm.
more intense playing with these guys because you cannot. You've seen them yell at Pasternak, you've seen them give it to David, let alone Jake DeBrusk or anyone else, and that's a good wake up for a guy like Jake. The question's always going to be with him right now is the consistency, and we all know, and we've talked. There's flashes. We always know that he's has this ability. The issue's been is bringing it every night. The issue is having that accountability every night and recognizing that you can't score 2 goals one game and then go away for a couple. And it sometimes feel like Jake thinks he can do that, and
Mm-hmm.
he won't be able to on this line. And you hope that actually getting an maybe it's kind of like getting sent to the minors maybe in this situation where Jake had that little taste of playing with these guys. He had a lot of success. He was getting 20 goals a game. And then it's taken 2 years for him to get back to this line. And he
Mm-hmm.
probably thought it was going to happen a lot earlier. He probably thought he was going to be gifted it in different ways, and it never turned up 74 when that right spot opened up or that left spot opened up. And you hope that he's recognizing that this is probably his last opportunity to do it. But certainly with these two guys, it's his last opportunity to play on this top line, and he wants to make the most of it.
He seems just listening to his post game comments, which I'm happy.
which we the first time we've had them, which is a
Right,
whole nother issue. But
right. But I'm happy that he did them. I'm me, Mr. Positive. I'm trying to find the positive here on this.
yeah,
But it seems like
yeah,
he's still steadfast on getting moved. I mean, it doesn't seem like that's changed at all with his what I'll call short-term success, because long-term success we measure in years, right? Not in,
yeah.
or at least multiple months in the NHL, not just on and off. And I guess I don't blame him. He requested it. Doesn't really want to talk about it, but does it matter anymore? Meaning, we're less than a month to the trade deadline. Does it matter anymore? Does it matter if, because he's a restricted free agent still after this year? Does it matter? Does it matter if it's just, hey, Jake, we're trying to move you, but listen, man, if we don't move you, just play your ass off. Get yourself into a great spot. Put us in a better spot to trade you. Doesn't matter anymore right now for this year, Razor, if they move him or not. I don't think so as much.
No,
I
I,
and
I
I'm
don't.
going back on what I said earlier because I'm like, you got to trade him. You got to trade him. Maybe it's gone so long right now. I don't know if it matters.
I don't think it does. And we both talked about, especially when the COVID break hit. We're like, wow, Don will be on the GM. They'll be on the phone a lot. Something probably gets done by the time they come back. We
Yeah,
thought that through. Maybe that could happen. And now it's so far along that I agree with you. I don't think it's very obvious the Bruins aren't just trading him. That is very
they're
obvious.
asking a high price. They're
They're
asking a high
asking a high
price.
price, and they're going to wait to get a medium price even, and
Yeah.
whether that's possible. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so so no, I don't think it matters. I think everyone understands that if it could happen, it would happen, but we're not going out on a limb to make this trade. And if you want to play in the NHL, this is your best option at this point. And I'm sure internally the message is, and I don't know how much the Bruins aren't really going to say this to a player, but agents and people around them say, score 40 goals and you'll get traded. That that
Mm-hmm.
that message is loud and clear from Jake's camp. The better you play, the more likely you are to find the spot that you want to be in.
Right. Yeah, it just becomes obviously easier for that. He had a nice line in the game. 2 goals, 1846, 6 attempts, 4 of them which reached the net, and 3 hits. And I remember 2 of them. So I'll give him 3. I'll say that Seattle official scorer, and this was right. He was actually a perfect 1-for-1 in the faceoff circle, too. Um, I'm most encouraged by the hits because that means that he's moving his feet. That means that he's getting to a spot. That means he's in on the play. If you're not going to move your feet and be involved with Bergeron and Marchand, sorry, bud. Like you said, this is his chance and his last chance for that.
Mhm.
I liked it. Involvement, good. This could be a good road trip for Jake. I think he can handle. I think he can get inside ice against San Jose. I think he can get inside ice against them. Now, Anaheim, I like their D crew. I mean, they've been playing well too, and they're big. That'll be tough, but it'll be a good challenge. But get those guys together. One other thing, just to throw out there: how much of a different look is it visually for Patrice and Brad seeing a lefty on the right side instead of seeing a righty? To me, I think it's something that has to be considered because optically, doesn't mean you can't overcome it, by the way. We see a lot of guys play their off wing. But optically, when you see a guy reaching forward with his right shot and you're leading into a different area, it's different than where you have to place the puck when you're passing it over to a left shot. It just is. So Jake's going to really have to work. It's not just going to be an adjustment for Jake. It's a big adjustment for Patrice, who also is coming in on his backhand a lot. So you're used to extending the puck out on your backhand passes if you're using your backhand to a front play. Meanwhile, to a lefty shot, it's a different angle. And I'm sure for Brad Marchand, he's looking. It's a visual, optically different look for where he wants to put the puck. Again, not something they can't overcome, but it's going to take a little time, I think.
Yeah, it does. It's different, and with that backhand play over on the right side, I think the one good thing is with Patrice being the righty, and he's always looking for Marchand first. Even when it was Pasternak on that line, the big play goes Patrice,
Yes.
Brad, then
Yes.
Brad does the work to find David on the other side. So that doesn't change, but a lot more for Brad is where he's putting that puck for Jake. Cross ice
Right.
passes, those little drop passes where you see David come across the top. It'll be Jake in this situation. The puck has to be, uh, I guess technically it has to be a little bit forward. Jake's going to have to move his body around it in certain situations. The one other positive, I guess it could be, and you saw it on the goal. I know it was 3-on-3, but Jake can get out on the left wing and cause movement, and Brad can go over to that right side because he can easily play. Brad can play anywhere. You might be able to get a little bit of movement, different kind of movement for that line. But no, it's the most adjustment for Jake, but it certainly is one for Brad and Patrice as well.
It also takes away, though. I know Craig Smith wasn't scoring much, but it takes away a guy with a shot first mentality and on
That it's
that
always
line.
passed down that wing now. It's really hard to get that shot off now with that
Right.
stick on the inside.
Right. And, on the right shot, whether it was Pasternak, whether it was Craig Smith, even trying Steen over there, what? It's an outside puck position. So it's a different thing. And so it's going to be, you're going to have to see Patrice shoot a little more and Brad shoot a little more. Speaking of Brad, what did we think of his game? Papa Brad, he already had a couple of children, but now he has his third, a baby girl. Rue, congratulations to Brad and his wife. He plays 21-44. Brad ends up having 7 shots on goal, 2 takeaways, 9 total attempts, by the way, 2 missed shots. Um, he had energy. He was involved. He didn't record any points. However, I mean, it was Brad. I mean, did he dominate like the way he had? No, maybe it's the way that the game was played in Seattle. But 21-44, pretty damn good. Look to have his legs. I expect him to be better, even more noticeable on Saturday night.
Yeah, he'll be better Saturday. That was a good start. I think he had the botched change on the penalty, the first
Yeah.
goal, which was
Holy.
kind of comical. That was just a more, you just didn't see the guy. I mean, that happens out there. He saw his guy peeled and went to the bench, so he thought he had his chance, and Giordano comes down the pipe. But he was good. Not dominant, Brad, but he will be at some point on this road trip. Good start back. Great to it's funny, right? Because when he's there, it puts everybody in the right spot.
Yeah.
Holla line looked good. Holla was good. The third line, now you have those guys creating the penalty right on the first shift, like great energy. And then Foligno gets in the right spot way down on the fourth line. Those guys seem a little bit more solid. It just having him in the lineup just makes those forwards seem much more productive, much more dangerous because everyone's slotted in the right spot.
Speaking of Hala, an assist in the game. Actually, nice play, cutback move that led to that DeBrusk tapping or slamming, whatever, to lead eventually that led to the goal. But nice play by Hala. How about this line? 10 for 14 in the faceoff circle. Patrice, a
Hmm?
very pedestrian 52% in the faceoff circle. For a while, we were both watching. So, geez, he's getting beat more than we ever expect to in the faceoff, Patrice. But he still ends up at 52%. But Eric Hollow, 10 wins out of 14 tries. Much more noticeable and comfortable at center than he is at wing, at least with this team. By the way, you mentioned Foligno, definitely in the right spot right now for what he has or hasn't done. He played 923 on 14 shifts. Curtis Lazar, just 6 shifts, 352 of ice time. Very, very light. Keep an eye on that. You have bleed
Really
still.
light. Yeah.
But uh, the other thing about keeping Jake, perhaps, if you add another winger or two, and we know that a right wing now could be something that they're definitely looking at. Look, it allows him to go back to that fourth line if you keep Jake, because
Mhm.
he's going to be,
Yep.
at least right now, a lot more effective than what Nick Foligno's been able to do. And
Yeah,
so
no
you got
question.
to consider that. All right, couple other things to get to, and we will quickly. We're going to take some questions that I was able to do before I went out to snow blow the driveway. And you haven't done yours yet, right? Since I thought you
I
were going to go
haven't. I've been
early.
waiting.
It's
No,
heavy
I've been
snow.
waiting. So
It's heavy snow.
Yeah.
It's not fun. It's shit. It's shit having a storm.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, late February. It sucks, but it is what it is. Like people are complaining. I'm like, it's February, New England. Okay, right?
Yeah.
But we just got
Yeah,
rid
we
of the
weren't
snow.
out of the woods. It's
No, as you said last night, we're good for at least one March storm too. But it's
yeah.
heavy snow, so it's not fun. So enjoy that. Get
Yeah,
get
thanks.
your kids out to do the and we'll take some questions here. But I want to bring up Fazenda, the good people over at Fazenda Coffee. Check out fazendacoffee.com. We love having them back with Morning Brew. And when you go check out at fazendacoffee.com, put in Morning Brew, get 15% off and on your order. They have got so many great blends. They are Boston specialty roaster, and we've told you for a year now that you can find them at Whole Foods retail wise, but you can also find them at many places, in restaurants, in bakeries. For instance, we told you about Flour Bakery the other day. How about the at Blackbird Donuts? They got a couple of
Ooh.
Boston locations, and including also in Newton Center. If you go to Blackbird Donuts, you can find Fazenda Coffee there. So go check them out. Check out fazendacoffee.com. They are big, big. We're huge fans of them. They're also great friends of Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. Again, fazendacoffee.com. Morning Brew gets you 15% off. I am enjoying my end of my second coffee today while we sit and chat here for a couple of more minutes. All right, nothing else from the game. I mean, the power play, anything specific from the game jump out? We talked on the show last night. If people stayed up, we talked in the first intermission. Neither of us are fans of early power plays. Not that you can control that, but it becomes it. I always say, you can't, like a lot of people, you can't win the game in the first, but you can kind of lose it. You can lose a lot of momentum in the first period with a big power play or two early on in the first 5-6 minutes and not be productive and never recover from it. Thankfully, the Bruins did recover from it. And again, a win is a win is a win. It wasn't the prettiest game, but it's a win. But that power play early, you had all these. What's up with all the high stickings too? What do you think? I mean,
It was
holy,
like a men's hockey. It was like a beer league game. Guys had
you're
no
right.
control of their sticks. Sticks were flying all over the place. Literally a beer league game where the sticks coming up and hitting people in the head, but they're not even involved in the play. The 5 high sticking calls. It was crazy. I've never seen that in an NHL game altogether. It was
I,
really quite odd.
I hadn't either. Yeah, guys were all over the place with their sticks. Taylor Hall's face took abuse. Went
I mean,
down a couple.
McAvoy almost lost it, got decapitated by that guy. I've never seen that's like the most dangerous high stick I've seen that was inadvertent. It was wild.
Yeah, I had Brian Berard visions there, and visions are
Oh,
actually the wrong.
Jesus, yeah.
That's the wrong word to use there, but you know what? I had
Yeah.
memory
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
And that was scary. And I guarantee you that was a big thing for Charlie as well. When the helmet went flying off, recognizing it was a stick that came. I've seen stick come by the eye before, and you have that moment of pause where you're just like, "Oh no!" Like it's
Yeah.
it's awful.
He was down in a
Um,
state of shock. That's why he wasn't hurt. He was just like, wow,
yeah,
dodged a
exactly.
bullet.
Real quick comment: Linus Ulmark gets the win. He'd given up 9 goals in his previous two, hadn't won. We were both fine. Yeah, fine with his
Yep.
game. All right with it.
Yeah, it wasn't an easy game to your point. All the power plays going the other way, then they score a shorthanded goal and you can lose that game by giving up one more goal. And Linus knows that. Goalies know that. They recognize if I give up another one here in the first and we go down 2-0 with the start we've had, we're probably going to have a hard time chasing it back. So, pressure situation, stressful, and he did a good job.
I want to talk real quick. I don't know if it's possible to do. We tried doing it post game a little bit, and again, nobody was up watching us probably at that time. You went all panda on
I
me.
did.
You talked about panda, folks. If you didn't stay up, and if you didn't, you're really not a fan. But the goal by Jake DeBrusk in overtime goes short side through the body, through the arm and the body of Philip Grubauer. To his credit, Philip Grubauer, who has been anything but consistent this year and anything but good, really, for the Seattle Kraken. I thought he was great in this game. I don't watch the Kraken regularly, but when I do, I have not seen goaltending like this from Grubauer. He was excellent at times in this game. However, in overtime, Jake DeBrusk holds the puck wide, gets on his inside left edge for support, and waits out with a little shoulder kind of hand fake Grubauer, and Grubauer now opens up. You're telling me this is a new move called Panda. How the
Well,
hell does it become called Panda? And I look, I thought it was not a. I mean, I give Jake credit for making kind of the hesitation move, but I think if Grubauer just slides over and holds the post, doesn't he make the save? Entertain me here with what he should have done there. Oh, Panda
yeah.
Master. That's
So
what you're now, the Panda Master.
he didn't do Panda, and I don't know
He
why it's
wanted to do
called.
Panda.
If
Yeah.
he did it, that was the right time to do it, and it's all about the transition of where the goaltender's following that player down the wing, get and dropping, whether it's in his butterfly, whether it's an RVH, especially with a left-handed shot down that wing. It's very easy for them to wrap the puck around. A guy like Jake
Mm-hmm.
has all that speed. You're really concerned about that wraparound, and that's what Jake's selling. He's holding on
Right.
to it and waiting as long as he can for the goaltender to make a move, make a transition. And like you said, any shooter in the NHL is just waiting for a large move, and then he's
Right.
putting it on net. He doesn't need a lot of room, but he just needs that goaltender to move. Needs something, some kind of movement. That's the trigger. That's the shot. So that's that transition. Now goaltenders are figuring out that they're getting beat on the transition. The players had a long time figuring out the transition. Now they're getting beat. And that's why we see a lot of RVH goals right now. A couple weeks ago, someone like Bruins scored another one like that where so the point is that what Grubauer needs to get down on the ice a little earlier,
Mm-hmm.
flatten out his feet, flatten out the bottom half of his stance, lean to his right, which seals the post, like you talked about, just seal the post. That also allows him, instead of having to have a big rotation, to plant and push to the post to cover the wraparound. His feet are already lined up. His knees are already lined up for that push to the wraparound.
Yeah.
So it just takes that one play out of the way. You drop facing up ice, twist, rotate your shoulders to seal the right hand post, and then you can easily push to the left hand. So it's something guys are working on. I'm working on it with the little guys, and it seems like the smart play to do.
Yeah, and Jake, by keeping on his inside left skate and not dropping to the power drive to the net move on his inside right skate, which again, he's a lefty, so it might be not more difficult, but he's also to the outside. I don't think he's feeling. I think he's saying this D could challenge me a little bit quicker if I try and drive to the middle and then maybe go back in, almost like what Eberle did to score his goal. By selling it on the left skate, Grubauer is thinking that he might go behind the net. I get it.
Yeah.
He's thinking he might go there, but it's a nice shot. But it is we showed it in super slow-mo. There was a big opening when Grubauer moved his arms out and opened right there.
And if Allmark or Swayman give that up, or in the past Tuukka, we're smoking them. People are smoking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm smoking Grubauer here for a great game. A great game. But that was not a great goal. A couple of questions here. Here's one from a guy, Bobby Fitz. Bobby Fitz wants to know, should the Bruins bring back Zdeno Chara for toughness and depth as a number 6 left shot D-man? And he says, absolutely. The word is that Chara
Fitzy.
now that Chara is surpassed, he's the all-time leading games played defenseman. Congratulations to Zdeno, surpassed Chris Chelios, another NHL legend, as most games played all time. That the Islanders are going to be looking to shop him, as they should, if they can get something, and if he wants to go somewhere for the proverbial one more kick at the cup. I don't know, man. I love Z. I got a lot of respect for him. I don't think the speed in the playoffs. How about last year when he was with Washington? It was exploited by this Bruins team. And as much as romantic as it would be to see Z back in a Bruins uniform, I don't know if you're expecting something. I don't know if you get what you really need when it's all said and done. I love his stuff. He fought last night against San Jose. Was it Beal or something that he fought? Like, what the hell are you doing, kid?
Yeah.
By the way, the kid's 6'2", 210, and he looked like mini-me. He looked like mini-me next to Chara. So I don't know. I am at best mildly interested in that, and I'm such a Z fan, but I don't see that as the answer. What about you, Razor?
Yeah, no, I'm a hard no. I'm not even mildly interested. It throws the dynamic off completely. He's too big of a personality, too much of a legend here
Yep,
in Boston to be able to bring him back. It throws everything off in the room. There's too many young guys that they're trying to give voices to, that if he comes back, they get a little meeker, a little quieter, and
couldn't
so
agree more.
it doesn't work. It would be great to have him back in the organization sooner than later, I'm assuming, but it's not going to be in a sixth defenseman capacity.
Here's another one from my old buddy Anthony Amico. Is a first round playoff loss better than looking towards the future at this point? So he's assuming that the Bruins will lose in the first round. He's giving us the if this, if not that scenario. And it's going to be the Bruins could actually end up in the numbers one wild card spot. They're right there on Washington.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that they will reach TO in the three spot in the Atlantic when it's all said and done. But whatever. But let's just assume they play either Carolina or Florida or I guess Tampa. If they lose in the first round, so basically what he's saying is it better to, I guess, sell now and look towards the future than it is to try and make the playoffs. I'm going to go with I'm letting these guys play. I'm letting them play because I'm not in the school of trading in season Patrice Bergeron and Brad Marchand right now. I don't see them also selling the future to add a huge deal. They're going to have to get creative, but I do see them. I guess I do see them trying to add. I don't know what that means yet. I've gone all over the place. What about you?
Yeah, I listen. You get in the playoffs in the NHL, you're happy. That's a good start. That's a good place for your organization to be if you're making playoffs. You talk to some of these teams that had this great idea to just go tank, and everybody
Yeah.
keeps saying, right? How many years now we
How
talk?
easy?
Ottawa's a dude. They're a dangerous team. Oh, they're going to be a dangerous team this year, and they're 15 games under 500 at Christmas every year.
Yeah.
And yeah, they have nice young pieces and all this stuff. Like that's miserable. That is miserable to play on.
Florida
Nobody wants
sucked
to
for a
play in
while, Razor. Florida
forever,
with great
forever.
with Huberdeau and Barkov. They
Barkov, like
sucked.
those guys are
And
generational
Ekblad.
players, and they couldn't make the playoffs, and they
Right.
still haven't won a round in the playoffs. By the way, everyone's
Right.
Florida, Florida, Florida. They still haven't got out of the first round yet. So
Yeah.
this is the idea that you sell the future with a team that's solidly in the playoffs right now it doesn't it just it can it's similar to the Zdeno question where it's romantic. You can think about it. Oh, I'm going to fantasy build my team from nothing and turn them into a dynasty, but it's not reality. These teams are trying to get in the playoffs, and you kill yourself to get in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Peter Tenkrat wants to know: will you come clean my driveway? He'll pay you or me.
How much?
How much?
There's always a price. There's always a price.
I'm thinking, a little tax-free income never hurt. Still
Cash
working
money.
off the pandemic, right? All right. Holly M. She asks about the penalties from. We already talked on that. Do you think there'll be any punishment the players who hit McAvoy and Hall? How about a hard no? No, Holly. Thank you for the question. There's no penalty on those. Who's on? This is from Alan Sharp. Who's on your deadline wish list? Should they target a winger or a center? Blah, blah, blah. I think Haula has done enough, and I like that third line stay together. Is Philip Forsberg a realistic option? What would he cost, or would he cost too much? Real quickly through that, there's a lot of pieces there. I'm still defenseman. I am. I'm D-man. I'm D-man. I'm D-man. And if you can get a right winger, get that as well. I'll leave Hall. He seems with Hall and Pasta, whether or not that line would perform playoff level like they're doing, I don't know, bud. But I'm not selling the farm for a number two center. I'm. Let me ask you about this. Would Patrick Laine be on your interested wish list? You'd pay more of a premium for him because I think he has 1 year left of restricted free agency. He's got his shit together right now with Columbus. And I got to tell you something. Brad Larson, his nickname is Clutch. I've known Clutch since my day in the American League with the Wolves. Awesome guy. He's done a hell of a job with that team. They are now behind the Bruins for a playoff spot, and they were not supposed to be anywhere near there. But Laine, would you entertain that or no?
He can shoot the puck.
Yep.
I mean,
And he's
he
big.
shoots it. And he's a monster. He's long. He's a straight rental because he's not going to sign here. So,
But no,
in
no,
one
no.
way, that's a good thing. In one way, that's a good thing because you don't have to like move cap to have him next season. I think he's like an LA guy. I think he's made that kind of clear, hasn't he? Like he
But
wants to go
doesn't he have 1 year left of before he's a UFA?
because he
So I
just
think
signed that 1 year deal again.
yeah,
Right.
but now you're talking. Are you gonna
You're
does he
qualifying for 8 million or something, right? It's a lot.
right right. I guess I'm gonna look that up in the last minute or two here that we're together.
But
And let's see.
he is sexy in the respect of imagine him playing with Brad Marchand on the right side. Oh,
Yeah.
that's you got your
Yeah.
right first top two right wingers are Patrick Laine and David Pasternak. You can score goals.
I think you could put together a package to get him too of a couple of players for Columbus. Now
Yeah.
they're going to want a first. That's the
The
thing. They're
issue
going to
the issue also is there might not be enough pucks because you think about he's got to play power play. Where are you going to put him on the power play? Who's going to you still need a net front guy. He's not the net front guy. He's over on the right half wall. But I would be interested.
I would
I think he's a
talk.
great
I don't
talent.
know if he's
He's a great talent.
the big question is it worth the headache? Is he going to stay? He's he's
Yeah.
7.5 million this year. He's got one more
Mhm.
year as an RFA. Okay.
Well, he's
So
signing another 1 year deal.
right. And so if you're giving up a first, boy, oh boy, I don't know. Columbus already has two firsts this year. They've got the Blackhawks from the Seth Jones trade. They've got two first. They've got two fourth. I mean, you give up a 2023 first round for him and then they keep building. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't. When it's all said and done, if you're only going to keep him for 1 year, meaning this plus one, is it worth the first round pick? He's a potential difference maker.
Mhm.
But no. All right. Last thing. I've never had this happen to me before. Evacuating a building during a
Yeah, I forgot
broadcast.
about it.
Yes.
Oh man, that was unbelievable. That was so
And
funny.
and Razor and I tried to do the stowaway thing for a little
Yeah,
bit at
yeah.
Nesson. So all of a sudden, and by the way, thanks folks for your questions. There was a couple more. Just going to wrap this morning brew up right now. I mean, alarms go off in hotels all the time, and you get. I can't speak for you. I'd say I get a little more concerned there because there's always that. Well, wait a second. I'm on the seventh floor. It might not be a big deal, but if there's something on the second floor, seventh
Yeah.
is maybe I'm on the 17th floor. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to go downstairs. That's just
I'll go
me.
take a look. I'll go
I'm
take a
going to take
look.
a
Get on
look.
the
Right. I'm
elevator.
gonna.
Might not go outside, but I'm gonna go take a look.
Right, but we're halfway through the game, and all of a sudden the fire alarm throughout the building goes off at Nesson. Evidently, by the way, it's the second time in the day it went off. And we're all just kind of like, no, no, no. And then all of a sudden, a handful of people are heading out, and more people are heading out. Jack and Brick are staying on the air. You and I are kind of sliding into the other studio so we can just kind of keep watching the game. Like I'm thinking, we need to watch the game to know what's going on. Then more people start leaving. And then the fire trucks are coming over. Jack and Brick still going. And then all of a sudden we hear Jack say, the fire alarm's going off. We've been told we need to evacuate. And so, me trying to hide to keep watching the game because I'm like, yeah, I want to watch the game. But we get pulled out. Razor doesn't bring his winter coat out with him outside there. I grab mine. I've never had that
Praise.
happen. I mean, what a wacky. I mean, wacky. Honest to God, you can't script that. You
No,
cannot script that. So
no, that was priceless. And not to mention it was like midnight, right? 12:30 at night. Like
12:30,
we're just yeah. I mean,
Uncle.
and to see Brick and Jack standing out in the cold while the game was going on was really something else.
Oh my God, the whole production team's out there, and there's three fire trucks. There's a police car over there, and I'm like, I went to my car for a few minutes to try to listen to the game, and I turned the radio on. And I couldn't find the game. I'm like, what's going on? This is like Twilight Zone. I must have.
Oh,
I don't.
that's
I
funny.
must screw up. Anyways, odd,
That's
not
funny.
interesting, but odd. All right, it's going to wrap up this Morning Brew with Jaffe and Rich. Thanks for listening, folks. Thank you to Berkshire Bank for being presenting sponsor, and also again to Fazenda, Boston Specialty Roaster, for being back with us. Go check out both Berkshire Bank and Fazenda. Razor, you and I need to talk. We're going to set up the schedule for March. We'll be coming back in just a couple of days with another Morning Brew. Not after Saturday's game, but I believe after the LA game, after the Monday night game. We'll have one out Tuesday morning for everybody, probably late morning Tuesday for everybody. All right, everybody, be well, be safe. If you're in New England, be safe with the snow. Have fun shoveling out, Razor. Again, wet snow sucks. And hey, but you know what? Good opportunity to have another coffee. And as always, enjoy that extra coffee.